Hello, everyone, and welcome to ROKStudios. I'm Stan Miller. I'm PR and Analyst Relations Manager for Rockwell Automation in the EMEA region, and I'm joined today by Rosa Piazzolla. She is Product Manager in EMEA for Rockwell. Rosa, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Rosa, we're here today to talk about rethinking motion, how flexibility is redefining the future of manufacturing. This is a really exciting topic, particularly with all the solutions we have in this space. So let me ask you, for many years now, manufacturing success was measured by efficiency and standardization. What broader industry forces are now pushing leaders to prioritize adaptability and flexibility as core strategic objectives?
So for a long time, let's say the playbook in manufacturing has been maximize utilization, minimize the cost per unit, and lock that into repeatability. And that was great until the world stopped being so predictable. So today, leaders are really facing challenges across different levels because of the constant change that they are facing. Change and variability across different levels. On the demand side, customers are requesting more products, shorter lead times, more updates. And on the demand side, on the other hand, suppliers are, let's say, stressing out leaders because of more disruptions. And leaders are at the same time facing more challenges, also in terms of scarcity of labor and also changing regulations. And when change becomes the new norm instead of an occasional headache, that's where we see this shift toward flexibility becoming a strategic value for every business plan. So today, leaders are valuing flexibility just as much as they are valuing productivity. We see leaders seeking responsiveness, optionality, and resilience for their production systems. In a way, flexibility can be seen also as a way of growing, right? So the ability to adapt their production systems to decide what to produce, but even pursue new products, so new SKUs, and also new channels, new markets with less operational friction.
Rosa, that's perfect context for my next question. Many manufacturers still think in terms of linear production lines. How is the industry's thinking evolving toward more dynamic, system level approaches? And what does that shift mean for executive decision making?
Let's say that the traditional lines were designed following a very simple rule. A fixed sequence of steps with fixed timing and fixed routing. I like to think of production lines as train tracks. So they are working perfectly fine as long as we are going into one direction. But what happens when you need to change direction? So for this reason, we are seeing leaders today moving away from the concept of traditional lines like train tracks, and they are embracing this new philosophy and design of production system as manufacturing platforms, seen as network of process stations, modular stations that can be orchestrated dynamically. Of course, this has different implications on a leadership perspective. For instance, from a CapEx rationale, leaders today are not just funding productivity or innovation, they are actually funding also the ability to adapt quickly to whatever happens upstream or downstream of production. Also, for a risk management perspective, by moving away from the idea of a line and embracing the idea of a platform, they can even reduce the single point of failures, thus increasing the overall reliability and ultimately the uptime of their production systems. And lastly, probably the biggest change, the biggest shift is in terms of time horizon. So leaders today, they're just not designing the line of the next product, but they are designing and investing in designing capabilities, meaning they can commit with more confidence to a manufacturing system that will be able to produce not only the product of tomorrow, but even the next generations of products.
I love the way you laid that out because as you were using that kind of example, I could literally see that, like, mapping it out in my mind. That was really good. Rosa, concepts like batch size of one are often discussed at a technical level. From a leadership perspective, what organizational or cultural changes are required to make mass customization a viable business reality?
This is a very good question. And we always discuss about batch size of one as a technological ambition, but in reality, it's more a leadership challenge. I think that you can have the best technology in-house, but at the end of the day, if your organization is built on mass production concepts, you're gonna fail. So I think that there are different ingredients in order to make batch size of one a viable business reality. One of them for sure is technology. So leaders need to adopt technologies that are enabling in light of flexible manufacturing. But they need to combine, let's say, this technology to a broader change and shift towards flexibility. So I think that the other important piece to this equation is for sure organizational change, meaning leaders must align all their business functions, so sales, suppliers, operations, engineers, around the fact that change is the new norm. Therefore, batch size of one, it's not just an engineering or a commercial project, is instead a commercial strategy. And third, I think that leaders need also to go through a cultural change, a change of mindset. Indeed, the most successful companies are those companies that don't try to eliminate the change, this variability. On the other hand, are those companies that try to standardize the way they are treating variability. So ultimately, to wrap it up, I think that the three ingredients needed to make batch size of one a reality are technology, organizational changes, and cultural changes.
Rosa, executives are being asked to make long-term investments amid economic, geopolitical, and even regulatory uncertainty. How should leaders think about flexible manufacturing capabilities as a way to manage risk or even future-proof their operations?
Yeah, well, let's say that it's very complicated, especially if we look at this dynamic contest to decide, let's say, what's the best investment. But one thing is for certain, if somebody is investing into something that does just one thing, well, that's gonna be a very high risk move. Therefore, investing in, let's say, high specialized assets that are maybe optimized for high volume, but let's say a low variability in terms of product mix can represent a liability for leaders. So in this context, investing into flexibility means also buying strategic options, the option to decide when to produce, what to produce, and how to produce. So for this reason, today investments are also measured through different lenses. So for instance, on top of productivity and innovations, we have other KPIs such as speed of reconfiguration. So how quickly can a manufacturing system change the product that we are actually producing, or the impact of changeover. So what is the cost of a changeover in terms of downtime or in terms of waste, scrap? And ultimately, also in terms of scalability, leaders today, when they are investing into new designs, they want to be sure that they can scale up their production systems, they can adjust their volume of production in a scalable, in a modular way, so without any big disruptions to their current production lines or production schedules. And in this light, let's say here at Rockwell, we really have many technologies that can help leaders make the right choices, especially looking at the future.
Yes, disruption leads to downtime, and downtime could be a problem. Absolutely. Last question for you. As flexible motion and modular production concepts mature, how do you see them reshaping the definition of competitive advantage in in manufacturing over the next several years?
Well, this is probably the $1 million question. I think it's very difficult and tough to predict what will happen in the next years, in the next decade. If you think that 10 years ago, we barely knew about AI, and today we are using AI every day. So it's very, very complicated to predict the future, the next decade. We are talking about a technological era. However, one thing is for certain, and it's what the leaders are asking us. So today, leaders are asking for smarter technologies, technologies that are innovative, technologies that allow them to be productive, but at the same time technologies that are scalable and modular. And just to give you more context, I'd like to bring up an example that is the example of independent car technology. So independent cart, unlike the traditional conveyance systems such as mechanical conveyors or mechanical chains, is really revolutionizing the way we are designing the production line. We can finally interrupt this fixed sequence of steps with fixed timing, right? And routing. We can achieve the individual control of units in our processing lines. We can move individually the products to different stations and stop the product only at value-adding station. And this is really powerful because we can even inherit intrinsic track and trace capabilities, meaning we know exactly where the product is located along the line, and this is really important also and strategical for engineers, as they can make real-time and data-driven decisions. This is really helping productivity, but also operations. And also, let's say another key important factor of this technology is the reduction of the mechanical components. And this allows, well, first of all, to have higher reliability of the machine, but also to save some energy. So we can think of independent car technology also as a green thinking technology, also on a sustainability aspect, right? And lastly, I want to mention the modularity of this technology. And this is really, again, helping that request of scalability that leaders are right now seeking. So all in all, with all these capabilities, independent car technology is really helping making flexibility a built-in characteristic for the production lines. And I think that this is what will help manufacturers, even in the future's leaders, to maintain their competitive edge, especially looking at what will be the change and how impactful will be in the future. So.
Watching independent car technology in action is a remarkable thing. So I love that example. Rosa, this has been a great interview. Thank you so much for visiting us in the studio today.
Thank you, Stan.
And thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about industrial automation and digital transformation, visit rockwellautomation.com.